A woman will do this when you stop contacting her. Old Stoic wisdom. A woman will show her true colors when you go silent. Silence is sometimes the best answer. Dalai Lama. Most men have been conditioned to believe that consistent attention is the key to winning a woman over. Constant texting, reassurance, chasing her approval. But that conditioning, it's often what keeps men stuck in confusion and emotional limbo. Here's the unfiltered truth. When you stop contacting a woman, everything becomes clear. No more decoding mixed signals. No more wondering where you stand. Silence does what words often can't. It reveals reality. Why is this so powerful? Because in today's world, attention is cheap and abundant. Most women are used to validation on tap, likes, compliments, DMs from men trying to prove they're worthy. But when a man pulls back, when his presence vanishes, it disrupts the pattern. It creates a space only a confident, self-respecting man would dare to create. This isn't manipulation. This is maturity. You're not playing games. You're finding truth. Does she miss you, respect you, value you as a man, or was she simply feeding off your attention? There's only one way to find out. Stop reaching out. Let her feel what life is like without your energy. In today's video, I'll walk you through the psychological shift that happens when you go silent, key signs to watch for in her response, what her actions actually mean, not what she says, how to respond like a grounded man without begging, chasing, or losing your center. 1. She tests your silence. The moment you go silent, something ancient and instinctual wakes up in her. She may not text, she may not call, but don't be fooled. Her mind is spinning. She's not ignoring you. She's watching. She's testing. And whether it's a subtle flicker of curiosity or a full-blown emotional probe, make no mistake, she wants to know if your silence is weakness or power. This is where most men fold, not realizing they've already stepped into the arena. She might toss out a vague post, something cryptic, loaded, just enough to stir your attention. Or she'll like an old photo of yours, the one from months ago, just to nudge your memory. Maybe she'll view your stories, hoping you'll notice. Or worse, she sends a completely random message. Hey, did I leave my charger at your place? A Trojan horse of a text designed purely to see if you'll break your silence. And if you respond, she wins. She knows she's still got you wrapped. She knows your iron mind isn't so iron after all. But don't miss the deeper lesson here. Old Stoic wisdom tells us something crucial. True strength lies in restraint, not the loud, flashy kind, but the quiet, unshakable kind that speaks through inaction. She wants to know, are you rattled by her absence? Are you so unsettled that you need her attention like a thirsty man in the desert? Or do you carry yourself with the calm, centered energy of someone who doesn't chase validation? A man rooted in Stoic principles does not tremble when the wind changes. He is the mountain. He doesn't run toward chaos. He lets chaos tire itself out trying to move him. Don't let her tests trap you. Don't be the guy who can't hold the line, who reads too deeply into a like or a late-night message. That is the fast road to losing respect, hers and your own. Be the one who can stare into silence and not blink. Understand this. She only tests you because you matter. That's the paradox. Her games are signals. She's trying to understand who you are at your core. If she truly didn't care, there'd be no need to test. But when you don't react, when you refuse to play, you pass with flying colours without ever saying a word. Old Stoic wisdom tells us control yourself, or someone else will. This is not about manipulation. It's about mastery. An iron mind doesn't bend to the bait. And your silence, it's not weakness. It's strategy. She'll wonder why you haven't broken. She'll feel the shift in energy. And if you hold, if you stay grounded in those Stoic principles, something fascinating happens. The power flips. She begins to feel your absence. She starts questioning herself, not you. That is your victory. Not because you won anything, but because you stayed true to yourself. So don't chase. Don't fumble for the phone. Don't let a fleeting emotion undo the work of your discipline. Let her test. Let her wonder. Let her sit with the silence, because the man who follows Old Stoic wisdom knows the truth. A woman may test your silence, but only the strong pass with it. 2. She doubts her control. Don't underestimate the power of silence. When you stop contacting her, no texts, no calls, no late night, just checking in messages, you aren't just disappearing. You're disrupting a pattern. And that, gentlemen, is where the game changes. Most modern men have been conditioned to chase, to linger, to orbit like a loyal moon around her emotional gravity. But when you break free from that orbit, when you go dark, something fascinating happens. A question forms in her mind. Did I lose control over him? That question is not trivial. It's the beginning of a ripple, a shift in power. Suddenly, the woman who was sure of your attention is no longer sure of your presence. And that uncertainty, it's not fear, it's intrigue, it's mystery. It's the very thing that rebalances the dynamic. You've now entered the realm of practical stoicism. The Stoics believe that control lies not in what others do, but in how you choose to respond. And here, when you choose not to respond, you reclaim your frame. You're no longer emotionally available on demand. You're not her backup validation plan. You're something far more dangerous, unpredictable. This is not a game. It's not manipulation. It's strategy, grounded in Stoic rules and the paths of wisdom forged by men who refuse to be ruled by impulse or insecurity. Silence makes her wonder. In a world where dopamine hits come from likes, texts, and emojis, silence is a shock to the system. She starts to wonder. Why hasn't he reached out? Has he moved on? Is he with someone else? These aren't just questions. They're signs. Signs that the balance of emotional investment is shifting. She's no longer certain of your place in her world. And when certainty vanishes, interest spikes. That's how humans work. We value what we can't fully possess. Don't be predictable. You must stop being the guy who replies within minutes. Don't be the man who validates with every text. That's the behavior of someone who's available and forgettable. Be the man she can't read, the one she wants to decode. Control, as the Stoics understood, isn't about dominance. It's about discipline. You don't need to control her. You just need to control yourself. That is the core of Stoic rules. That's how you become unshakable. She starts to chase you. Now the tables turn. When she doubts her hold over you, her instincts kick in. The dynamic reverses. She reaches out. She checks in. She probes. Not because you played games, but because you broke the pattern. You became the man with emotional sovereignty. Don't explain yourself. Don't fill the silence. Be okay with mystery. You are not here to be consumed by her attention. You are here to master your own path. The paths of wisdom are not walked by those who beg for reassurance. They are walked by men who understand that peace comes from letting go of control, not to give up, but to grow stronger from within. When you stop contacting her, you begin contacting something more important, your self-respect. So stand firm, be still, and let your silence speak the language of power. That, gentlemen, is practical stoicism at work. If you found this valuable, like the video. Share it with someone who needs to hear this. And don't forget to subscribe for more timeless wisdom and modern insight. Comment to interact, I remain calm and in control. This affirmation reflects your inner strength and unshakable composure. Drop it in the comments to lock it in and remind yourself and others that real power comes from restraint. 3. She replays the past. When you stop contacting her, you do something most men never have the strength to do. You pull your energy back. You let silence speak louder than words. That's when something powerful happens. That's when she starts to replay the past. Every conversation, every glance, every laugh, she replays it all. She can't help it. Your silence becomes the trigger that forces her to fill the void. That silence isn't empty, it's a mirror. And in that mirror, she starts to see herself more clearly. We suffer more in imagination than in reality, said Seneca. When you vanish from her daily life, she begins to imagine. Did she take you for granted? Was he better than I thought? Did I let a strong man slip away? Yes, she might have. And now, in the space you've created, Regret finds room to breathe. She feels it in waves. But here's the key. You must not interfere. You must not text, not call, not check in. You must let her wrestle with those thoughts alone. Because the man who knows when to go silent is the man who holds power. Power rooted in Stoicism. Power taught by Epictetus. That's how men win. That's how you win. Don't chase. Don't explain. Don't ask for closure. That's weakness talking. Stand tall. Disappear with purpose. Let her feel your absence like a ghost that haunts her memory. When you embrace Stoicism, you embrace mastery of emotion. You no longer act out of fear. You act from strength. He who angers you conquers you, said Elizabeth Kenny. And she will test you. She'll expect you to break. She'll wait for that text, that weak moment. But when you don't give in, you win. You shift the power. She begins to question her decisions. And in doing so, she sees you differently, not as a man who begged, but as a man who knew his value, who knew his time was sacred. Epictetus taught, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That is the core of this lesson. If you can master the urge to reach out, you master yourself. If you can hold your silence, you hold your dignity. And that dignity, that deep, quiet strength, will echo louder than any words you could ever say. Let's be clear, she must go through the process alone. Let her memory do the work. Let her regret bloom. Let her chase the ghost of your presence. And if she returns, it's because she chose to. Not because you begged, not because you persuaded, but because you stood like a rock in the storm. Stoicism is the shield, Epictetus is your guide, and win is the result. Don't break the silence. Don't dilute the power. Let her miss you. Let her remember the man you were, because the one who replays the past is the one most likely to come back. And when she does, you decide what happens next. Not her, you. That is power. That is victory. That is how you master life. 4. She starts watching you. Don't be fooled by silence. When you pull away from a woman, when you finally stop texting, stop calling, stop chasing, she doesn't vanish. She watches, quietly, curiously, intensely. She lurks in the background, like a shadow trailing your digital footsteps. She checks your social media not once, not twice, but religiously. Your stories watched within minutes, your posts studied like scripture. Sometimes, she even creates a fake account just to peek at your life unnoticed. She's not just scrolling, she's scanning for clues. Is he hurting? Is he already with someone else? Is this silence his real strength, or just a ploy? These questions race through her mind as she watches your every online move. This is where Old Stoic wisdom comes in. This is where you hold the line. Do not, under any circumstance, post bait. Don't suddenly upload gym selfies with cryptic captions. Don't go flashing half-baked attempts at moving on. Be still. Be composed. Let her see nothing but calm waters and quiet progress. That's power. Real power doesn't scream. It whispers with grace. That's Stoic principles in action. Let her wonder. Let her question. Let her guess. When she sees that you aren't flinching, aren't reacting, aren't trying to force her attention back, that's when she truly starts watching, not with irritation, but with fascination. This is the moment you embody the iron mind, unshaken, unworried, unmoved. Your detachment speaks louder than any desperate message ever could. The key is this: don't let your ego bait you into putting on a show. Your ego will want her to see you laughing with friends, flirting with new women, living the better off life. But Old Stoic wisdom teaches restraint. It teaches patience. You must resist the urge to win in the short term and focus on the long game. Peace, progress, self-mastery. She wants to know if your silence is punishment or peace. Make it clear it's peace. Not because you're trying to get her back, but because you finally remembered your worth. You're no longer performing for her gaze. You're living for your own growth. Every post should radiate purpose, not pity. Every moment she sees should feel like she's watching a man build a life so solid, so grounded, that she questions why she ever let go. That's the iron mind at work. You're not being cold. You're being carved by discipline. You're not being indifferent. You're being invincible. Don't react. Don't reach out. Don't slip. Hold your ground. This is not the time to explain yourself or seek validation. This is the time to embody it. Let her see what Stoic principles look like when lived, not spoken. And if she reaches out again, it won't be because you tried to win her attention. It'll be because you stopped needing it. That's the paradox of presence when you disappear with purpose. They start looking for you with curiosity. So stay silent, stay still, stay strong. That is your move, and it's the move that changes everything. If you found this powerful, share and subscribe for more timeless wisdom rooted in strength and self-control. Leave a comment to anchor this truth in your mind. Comment to remember. Silence is strength when it comes from peace, not pain. 5. She reaches out indirectly. A man who walks the paths of wisdom must learn one thing early. Not all messages come wrapped in clarity. When you stop contacting her, cold silence, no texts, no calls, no liking her photos, something strange happens. Silence does something loud. You see, when a woman still feels that pull, but her pride outweighs her courage, she doesn't just disappear. She lingers, but not openly. Instead, she throws breadcrumbs. A random "hey at midnight, that's not small talk." A forgotten comment on an old story from weeks ago, that's not nostalgia. Asking if she left a sweater at your place when she knows damn well she didn't, that's not curiosity. These aren't coincidences. These are quiet flares sent from a distance. They are signals cloaked and casual, indirect attempts to re-enter your orbit without losing face. Here's where Stoic rules separate men from boys. Don't bite. Don't respond to low-effort, lukewarm signals. A man who lives by practical stoicism knows his value isn't proved by his availability. He doesn't leap at the first twitch of attention. He waits, calm, composed, immovable. You must understand she's not really trying to talk to you. She's checking to see if you're still there. That's the test. If you reply with eagerness, she wins. Not because she wants you back, but because her ego needed soothing. She needed to know she still had power over your peace, that you hadn't truly walked away. And if that's all she wanted, you'll never hear from her again. But a man of practical stoicism doesn't play that game. He doesn't operate from need. He doesn't grasp at shadows. He doesn't confuse a whisper for a conversation. He knows if she wants to come back into your life, she must walk, not hint. She must speak, not gesture. She must knock at your door, not tap on your window. Breadcrumbs are not respect. They are hesitation, fear, pride, and games, all dressed as curiosity. Only when she reaches out clearly, directly, respectfully, does it become your decision again. That is your moment of power. Not to punish, not to gloat, but to assess. Is she genuine? Has she grown? Is this a woman who matches your peace or disturbs it? Because, let's be real, just because she wants to return doesn't mean you must open the gate. The strong man guards his peace like a fortress. Don't mistake noise for effort. Don't reward passive attempts with full access. Be the man who walks the paths of wisdom, who sees through games and doesn't flinch under the pressure of old feelings. In the teachings of Stoic rules, there's a lesson: you control your reactions. You control your standards. You do not chase what disrespects your peace. So, the next time you get that 1:14 in the morning, hey, smile. You've rattled the cage, but that doesn't mean you have to open it. 6. She gets emotional. When you pull back, she will feel it, deeply. Silence is not nothing. It's pressure, it's power, it's presence. The longer you maintain your calm, quiet space, the more emotional she becomes. At first, she'll act unbothered. She'll wear a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. She'll post vague, emotional quotes that sound poetic, but they're really cries for attention. She'll be suddenly glowing, surrounded by people, putting on a show of exaggerated joy. She'll flirt. She'll show off attention from other men. But don't be fooled. All of it is noise. All of it is reaction. Underneath it all is a woman wrestling with emotion she can't control. Because when a man walks away without a word, when he doesn't beg, doesn't chase, doesn't explain, he forces truth to surface. That's when she shows her real self. You must understand this. If she truly didn't care, she wouldn't react at all. Indifference is the death of emotion, but her anger, her sadness, her sudden attempts to get close again, they reveal emotional investment. They're not signs of strength, they're proof of the internal storm you've awakened. And now, she's sitting in it alone. Don't react, don't flinch, don't fall for the performance. Stand tall, let her feel the weight of your absence. That discomfort is not your enemy, it's your leverage. It's when she's uncomfortable that she becomes honest. The fake smiles fade, the games stop, and in that silence, a different kind of truth is born. This is what Stoicism teaches. Emotional control is not weakness, it's dominance. As Epictetus said, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. When you refuse to dance to her emotional tune, you take back your power. You win, not over her, but over yourself. That's the true victory. In modern life, men are constantly told to express, to emote, to chase. But the wise man, the Stoic man, knows the real strength lies in restraint, in the ability to hold the line when others break. This is how you win in life, in love, in leadership. Not through chaos, but through calm, through centered, unwavering resolve. She may scream louder, she may post more, she may even come back pretending nothing happened. But behind the noise is a woman who's being forced to confront the reality that you are no longer emotionally available on command. That's powerful. That's rare. That's Stoicism in action. You must not confuse her emotional displays with progress. You must not interpret her social flurry as healing. She is not free of you. She is reacting to you. Stay silent. Stay still. Let her confront her feelings. Let her question her behavior. That's the work she has to do, not you. As Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This is your test. To hold the line, to lead with stillness, to master your own emotion while the world around you stirs. So here's the lesson. Don't chase. Don't explain. Don't play emotional chess. Let her spiral if she must. That's not your concern. Your concern is your own center. That's how you win. That's how you lead. That's how you live like a Stoic. Stand firm, stay silent, and let your absence speak louder than any words ever could. Be the storm she can't move. If you find today's content useful to you, don't forget to share your feelings and lessons with us, or simply comment, "Very cool." It's a great encouragement for our channel makers. Thank you very much. 7. She makes a bold move. When you stop contacting her, when you go ghost, go still, and stay silent, it's not just a disappearing act. It's a test of both your patience and her intentions. And if she's still emotionally tethered to you, if all her strategies to draw your attention back, those subtle posts, the check-ins through friends, the breadcrumb texts, have failed, then comes the final card. She makes a bold move. And make no mistake, it is bold. It might be a heartfelt, vulnerable message where she drops the mask and says what she truly feels. It might be her showing up, in person, with no warning, and every emotion in her eyes. Or it could be a moment of raw honesty, where she admits she wants another chance, that she misses the connection, the stability, maybe even the man you were when she took you for granted. But don't confuse boldness for transformation. Don't you dare see this as some grand romantic gesture you need to run toward. That's the trap. This is not her reward. This is your moment, your space to assess with an iron mind sharpened by Stoic principles. Old Stoic wisdom teaches us that emotion without reflection is chaos. So ask yourself, has she changed? Has she taken real ownership of what caused the fracture? Or is she only circling back because the comfort of your presence now outweighs the sting of solitude? Maybe the other guy didn't call. Maybe the thrill wore off. Maybe silence became deafening, and now she remembers your worth. But you must remember what silence revealed. Your silence was never weakness. It was clarity in action. It was the strong, quiet echo of old Stoic wisdom, separating noise from truth. This bold move of hers is not a sign to drop your guard. It's a cue to dig deeper. Don't be fooled by emotion packaged in urgency. Be deliberate. Be immovable. Your boundaries, your values, your peace. These are not negotiable. They are the fortress walls that a woman must respect if she wants entry again. And if she's truly grown, truly evolved, she won't try to climb those walls. She'll knock with humility. That's what real change looks like. Not desperation, not drama, growth. So be still. Let your iron mind measure what your heart once ignored. If you've cultivated yourself in silence, become more disciplined, clearer, stronger, then don't regress. Don't throw open the door just because she remembered what she lost. That's not wisdom. That's weakness. Instead, lean into the Stoic principles that got you here: self-control, rational thought, self-respect. This isn't about bitterness. It's about discernment. Not every bold move deserves a warm welcome. Sometimes, the boldest thing you can do is stay calm, stay grounded, and say, "Not this time." Remember, Old Stoic wisdom doesn't chase. It waits. It watches. It acts with purpose. So don't move fast. Don't be flattered. Be focused. Be firm. That's how a man wins not just her back, but his self back. 8. She tries to replace you quickly. Stoic rule: let the storm rage outside. Inside, be still. When a woman feels your silence, and I mean truly feels it, her world begins to shift. The kind of silence that isn't a tactic or game, but the natural peace of a man who's walking the paths of wisdom, who has chosen dignity over drama. And what does she often do in response? She rushes. Suddenly. There's a new guy in the picture, a sudden wave of girls' nights out, cryptic captions, or flirt-heavy selfies. Maybe she jumps headfirst into a new relationship that looks like passion but smells like panic. Don't be fooled. This isn't growth. This isn't healing. This is a woman trying to fill a void, not build a bridge. See, when you were in her life, she was tethered to something real, a man with substance, someone who followed Stoic rules, who didn't bend to every emotional gust. So when you go silent and stay silent, not out of spite, but out of self-respect, what she feels isn't just your absence. She feels your centeredness. That's unsettling for someone who hasn't yet faced her own reflection. Most people can't sit quietly in a room alone. Fewer can sit in the silence after losing a high-value man without scrambling for distraction. Her quick replacement is often just a running start, away from herself. Don't chase her. Don't check her profile. Don't match her energy. Be the mountain. Let her flail around at sea if she must. But you stay still. You stay focused. That's practical stoicism. That's strength. That's how a man reclaims his power, not through retaliation, but through restraint. Understand this. If she truly moved on, she'd do so slowly, thoughtfully, like someone who's made peace with the ending. But when it happens fast, that's not moving forward. That's fleeing accountability. The truth is, people don't heal at high speed. They distract. They rebound. They pretend. And the more public the performance, the more private the confusion. Let her pretend. You go build. Not a rebound, not revenge, but a better life. Brick by disciplined brick. You want revenge. Fine. Be unbothered. Be unavailable. Be uncommon. Because here's the twist. Reality always wins. The honeymoon with the rebound wears off. The photos stop working. The attention dries up. And when she finally sits in silence, she won't just remember you. She'll feel you. But by then, you've changed zip codes. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You followed the paths of wisdom while she looped through emotional detours. So, next time you see signs she's trying to replace you quickly, remember, that's not about you. That's her trying to outrun a lesson she refuses to learn. And you've already passed that class. Final Stoic reminder: don't mistake chaos for progress. Don't react to noise. Be still. Be focused. Be free. Let her chase shadows. You walk in light. If you've stayed silent and stayed strong, you've already won more than you know. Her rush to replace you isn't proof of strength, it's fear of facing herself. Comment this to claim your power. I choose peace over reaction. I rise while others run. Drop it below and show you're not just watching, you're evolving. 9. She starts mirroring your behavior. When you go silent, truly silent, not out of spite, but out of stoic strength and self-respect. Something powerful happens. She starts to mirror your behavior, not because she's at peace, but because she's trying to regain a sense of control. You must understand this is not random. This is reaction. When you, as a man of discipline, detach emotionally, you create a vacuum, and nature abhors a vacuum. Suddenly, she's the one quoting Epictetus, talking about growth, independence, and rediscovery. She begins to reflect your calm detachment, your unshakable stillness, hoping to stir the same emotional turmoil in you that your silence stirred in her. But don't flinch, don't speak, don't chase, because in the game of emotional power, the one who reacts last wins. This is Stoicism in real time. As Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. So don't react. Lead. A woman mirroring your behavior is not leading. She's following your frame, still orbiting your influence, still calculating your moves. That means you're winning. And in Stoicism, to win is to master yourself, not others. She's not finding herself. She's trying to find you through imitation. She's trying to see if your silence is strategy or surrender. And when she sees you unmoved, her emotions churn harder. She's not calm, she's testing. But you must remain calm. Don't lose control. Don't mistake imitation for independence. This is not strength, it's survival. She is adapting, not evolving. Let her think, let her wonder. Let her feel the silence wrap around her like the echo of your absence. You are not gone. You are above. You are observing, because true power isn't loud. It's quiet. It doesn't chase. It leads. And the man who lives by Stoic principles does not get dragged into emotional games. He sets the tone. He walks away with certainty, not spite. That is mastery. That is control. That is win. In today's world of endless communication and desperate attention-seeking, your silence becomes a weapon, a signal, a declaration of worth. Modern life tries to convince men that constant talking, begging, and reacting is strength. But it's not. Strength is restraint. Power is composure. Real men don't explain their silence. They enforce it. And when she starts posting those deep quotes, don't fall for it. Don't bite. Don't respond. She's trying to get back into the rhythm you disrupted. She's trying to match your tone. And if she's imitating you, that means you set the tone to begin with. Victory. Remember, the leader shapes the frame. The follower adapts to it. Epictetus knew this. So must you. That calm detachment you practiced, it wasn't just silence. It was strategy. It was leadership. It was stoicism in motion. You didn't withdraw to manipulate. You withdrew to rise. And when she mirrors that, it's confirmation you're still the reference point. The benchmark. The signal. Let that sink in. You must win through stillness. You must win through control. You must win through not reacting. That's how Stoicism wins. That's how you win. Now stand tall. Let her mirror. Let her wonder. But never surrender your silence. Never give up your frame. Because the man she imitates is the man she remembers, the man she respects, the man she still cares about. 10. She begins to reflect on her own flaws. When you finally stop reaching out to her, no more calls, no more texts, no more chasing, you do something few men ever truly understand. You give her the gift of space. And with that space, something quietly profound begins to unfold. At first, she'll push the blame onto you. She'll tell herself stories to stay in control, to protect her ego. He gave up too easily. Or he didn't fight for me, she might say. But as the silence stretches and your presence fades, her narrative starts to crack. She can no longer use you as a shield to hide from her own flaws. And that's when something ancient and powerful kicks in. Old Stoic wisdom. You didn't beg. You didn't chase. You simply removed your energy. That's Stoicism in action. That's the iron mind. The silence becomes deafening. Not to you, but to her. And in that stillness, the mirror turns inward. She starts asking questions that aren't so easy to answer. Was I too cold? Did I expect more than I gave? Did I ruin something real? These aren't just fleeting thoughts. They're the first signs of a woman reckoning with her own patterns. Not because you argued or tried to explain yourself, but because you didn't. Your withdrawal forced clarity. That's what Stoic principles do. They remove noise so truth can speak. And make no mistake, this isn't manipulation. This is emotional gravity. This is what happens when a man chooses strength over reaction, stillness over chaos. She begins to feel the absence, not of just a man, but of a man who had self-control. An iron mind doesn't flinch, it doesn't chase, it observes, it measures, it waits. And now she's in unfamiliar territory. She might start journaling, talking to friends in deeper ways, or even revisiting conversations in her mind where she once felt so sure. That confidence begins to erode, not out of weakness, but because introspection has entered the room, and when that happens, healing becomes possible. But here's the warning. Don't get soft now. Don't rush back in just because she's showing signs of change. A man guided by old Stoic wisdom knows that words are cheap. Real growth is shown through consistency. Let her reflection deepen. Let her prove through action that she's not just feeling guilt, but taking ownership. You must not reward temporary insight. Wait for lasting transformation. Watch for patterns, not promises. This is how character is revealed, not through romance or reconciliation, but through solitude. Your silence stripped away distractions. It forced both of you to face what was real. Maybe she does the work. Maybe she doesn't. That's not up to you. Your job is to stand firm in your frame. That is the path of a man with Stoic principles, of a man who understands the power of retreat. When you stop contacting her, you give her a chance to face herself. But more importantly, you give yourself the space to see her, not as she wants to be seen, but as she truly is. And that is strength. That is wisdom. That is the iron mind in motion. Thanks for watching, my friend. If this message resonated with you, it's because truth is often simple, but not always easy to accept. Here's the bottom line. When you stop contacting her, you're not giving up. You're stepping back to see things clearly. Her silence, her reaction, it tells you everything. You're not being cold, you're being strong. Real strength is knowing when to walk away so the right one can walk in. And the right woman, she won't need chasing. She'll recognize your value, even in your absence. Take care and walk with purpose.